WrestleMania 40 is here and I couldn't be more excited. In my opinion, this has been one of the best built and most hyped WrestleManias that I've ever been able to witness. It's incredibly balanced from the undercard all the way through to the main event, and both nights have already been announced and both nights look absolutely stellar. But it wouldn't be WrestleMania season without WrestleMania predictions. So today we're gonna go through every single announced WrestleMania match and I'm gonna give you my predictions on who's gonna win and why. And then we can come back to this after WrestleMania has happened and we can see how good or bad my predictions were. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're gonna fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And now in the comments, I need you to tell me what match you are the most excited about, because for myself, it's gotta be the night one main event. They have built this like no other main event ever. In my opinion, the night one main event between the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins may just be the best built WrestleMania match in history. All right, let's get to the predictions now. We're gonna start off with night one, and the announced matches for night one start with Rhea Ripley going in as the WWE Women's World Champion, taking on the challenger Becky Lynch, who became the #1 contender after winning the Women's Elimination Chamber match. I gotta be honest with you, I think that this build has actually been quite good. It took a little while, but eventually after enough weeks, after enough interactions, I am fully hooked and I am excited for this match. This could be one of the best matches of WrestleMania in my opinion. In terms of star power, it's absolutely there. Both of these women are at the top of their game. We also have the future and the now of the women's division and Rhea Ripley, and we also have already in her own right a legend in Becky Lynch. Now, if I have to pick between one of these two, I'm gonna be picking Rhea Ripley, even though I do believe that both of them are very much capable of walking out of WrestleMania as the champion. However, Rhea Ripley is 20-something years old. She is the now and the future of the women's division, and there are still so many great money matches that can be done with Rhea Ripley as champion that they haven't done yet, like a rematch with Charlotte Flair. We can do Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, Rhea versus Jade Cargill. There's still so much left on the table as Rhea Ripley as the champion. So I'm gonna say that I'm picking Rhea Ripley. Next up, we have the match for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Gunther taking on the challenger, Sami Zayn. In my opinion, I still think that this should have been Chad Gable, to the point where I had little to no excitement for the hype and build between Gunther and Sami Zayn. But once Chad Gable started to get involved as Sami Zayn's trainer, then I started to get a little bit interested in this actual feud between Gunther and Sami Zayn. That just goes to show how well they built Chad Gable to be the challenger to Gunther, to the point where even though he isn't even a participant in the match, just his slight involvement in training Sami Zayn has gotten me excited for this. Still, I just don't see a world where Sami Zayn is the one to dethrone Gunther, especially with how little build and how little excitement there is for this actual feud. So I'm gonna say that Gunther retains here. Next up, we have a 6-pack tag team ladder match for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles, and it is going to be between 6 teams. We have the Judgment Day and Finn Balor and Damian Priest, DIY and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, the Awesome Truth and The Miz and R-Truth, the New Day and Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, A-Town Down Under and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and the New Catch Republic and Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. This is the perfect place to split the tag titles. They have already announced that the match will only end when both set of titles have been claimed. So if you're reading between the lines, that means that the match could still technically continue if one set of titles is grabbed. So I do think that one team is gonna grab one set of titles and another one is gonna grab the other, thus finally splitting the tag titles, something that we've been wanting them to do for the better part of a year now. So technically I'm picking 2 winners here. I'm gonna say that Team Awesome Truth is gonna win one set of the titles and that A-Town Down Under is going to win the other set of titles as well. Next up, we have Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso in the 3rd ever brother versus brother match at WrestleMania. I'm of the mind that this match really lacks build. They've pretty much just entirely relied on residual build from the other aspects of the Bloodline storyline to help build excitement for Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Don't get me wrong, I think that there is a lot of justification for this match to actually happen, but justification is not the same thing as a good build to the actual match itself, because the justification absolutely exists. You have Jimmy Uso just being a thorn on the side of Jey Uso Uso for the better part of a year now, costing him the match at SummerSlam against Roman Reigns, costing him the tag titles, costing him the world heavyweight title, costing him the tag titles, and costing him even the United States Championship. Jimmy Uso has done everything to make sure that Jey Uso doesn't flourish as main event Jey Uso as a solo act in the WWE. That in itself is really good justification to have a WrestleMania match. But just because we're justified for having a WrestleMania match doesn't forgive you for not actually building said match that has been justified. And I do feel like these two have been robbed of a really, really great build that could have been fantastic had the WWE just put a little bit more tender love and care into this feud. Ultimately, I am going to go with Jey Uso. I think it'd be kind of wild, kind of crazy if Jimmy Uso walks out with the victory, considering just how many one-ups Jimmy has gotten over Jey Uso over the last 8 months. At some point or another, Jey has to get one over on his older brother, Jimmy Uso. And I think the best place to get one over on him is no bigger place than WrestleMania. Next up, we have a 6-woman tag match between the team of Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi taking on the members of Damage Control in Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Just to clarify, the women's tag titles are not on the line here, even though the champions are involved. I feel like this could go one of two ways. It could be just an absolute squash match where Team Bianca, Jade, and Naomi just absolutely eat up the members of Damage Control, and this doesn't last for more than 5 minutes. Most likely, Jade Cargill goes out there and just decimates everyone, really cementing her as the next badass of the women's division. The other way that it could go is that maybe Jade Cargill turns heel on everyone and destroys everyone, including the baby faces. Some people are calling me crazy that it's too early to turn her heel, but when I look at the landscape of heels, just individual singles performers in the heel area of like the women's division, there isn't many. Like there's Io Sky, and that's pretty much it in terms of upper echelon main event worthy caliber women that are, vying for titles right now. I feel like you need to build the heels more on SmackDown, and I think having Jade Cargill as an ultimate heel on SmackDown could be pretty badass. I don't think that they do that yet, but I want you to keep that in the back of your brain as maybe a possibility of that happening. I am going to be taking Bianca, Jade Cargill, and Naomi. I do think that they're going to squash them, and poor Asuka is going to have to take yet another loss at WrestleMania. Hey folks, do you want even more wrestling content? Because there is so much more wrestling content available for you right now over on Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. The Wrestling is Cool podcast for this week is already up. The Raw review is up. You're also going to get my 4-hour watch along of WrestleMania 30 is already up there. So go check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. It's just more extra content in case the daily content here on YouTube isn't enough for whatever reason. That's it. I'm done. Back to the video. Next up, we have the LWO members Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee taking on Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. To me, it's still a little bit bewildering that they decided to go with Dragon Lee. I get it. Dragon Lee is Latino, so he fits one of the check marks to get into the LWO, unless your name is Joaquin Wilde, who got called out for not being Latino. But also, he did have some history with Legado del Fantasma attacking him backstage. So I get it. I understand Dragon Lee joining the LWO, but I think it's premature to have Dragon Lee be in this WrestleMania match when you have Carlito right there. So because Carlito wasn't added to this match, I think that this is likely going to result in a Carlito heel turn at WrestleMania itself. Finally, we can get that evil Carlito that's out for himself, a Carlito that has that cool aura, Carlito with his old entrance theme, because right now they're doing nothing with him. This is a perfect opportunity to have a jealous Carlito be angry that Rey Mysterio didn't pick him to have this WrestleMania moment and instead went with this guy that wasn't even part of the group in Dragon Lee, and he could turn heel on them, helping Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio get the victory. So that's who I'm picking. Next up, we have the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. There are some stipulations here where if Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins win, then the Bloodline is barred from ringside during the Night 2 main event between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. But if the Bloodline wins, it's gonna be Bloodline rules, Mama Rhodes, which means anything goes, I guess. They even mentioned the possibility of Solo singing the national anthem, which I would genuinely pay top dollar to see that. Jose, can you see? Okay, that's... Look, in my opinion, this is one of the best built WrestleMania matches of all time. Nay, I take that back. This is the best built WrestleMania match in history. The amount of effort, the amount of tender love and care, the amount of plot twist, the amount of just important things that have happened in this storyline make it, to me, the best built WrestleMania match in the history of WrestleMania. Here's the thing, even though it's a really well-built match and it's gonna be hype, it's gonna be awesome, it's a bit predictable because they've been talking about bloodline rules for so long now that it would be kind of nutty if night 2 isn't bloodline rules. It's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns that get the upper hand on night 1. They are definitely going to win this. I am curious what kind of Rock we're gonna get, because this is a 50-something-year-old Rock. This is no longer, you know, your 20-something-year-old, 30-something-year-old Brahma Bull taking on John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day. This is a Rock that's going to have to change his moveset in order to protect himself. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get more of a bruiser Rock, somebody that does a lot more trash talking in the ring, that just does a lot more strikes and a lot more submissions. I think that we are going to be seeing a different version of The Rock in the ring, just like how we've been seeing The Rock evolve with his entrances and with his gimmick. And I'm even predicting, this is a crazy one, The Rock is going to have a different finisher. It's not going to be the people's elbow, and it's not going to be the rock bottom. I'm going to throw that one out there as like a really crazy prediction. Now let's move on to night 2, and let's start it off with Seth freaking Rollins going in as the World Heavyweight Champion, taking on Drew McIntyre, who became the #1 contender by also winning the Elimination Chamber. Because of where this match is placed, being in night 2 after the tag match, I think that we're going to have a battered and bruised and just hobbled version of Seth Rollins, to the point where I don't think that he's going to be able to fight back against Drew McIntyre, but we're going to still have a match where Seth Rollins overcomes the odds. We're going to have a great time with CM Punk on commentary, but I believe in this match that The Rock is once again going to make his presence felt, and like you said, in the snap of a finger, he's going to make sure that Seth Rollins loses that World Heavyweight Championship, and I think he makes his presence felt in this match. He costs Seth Rollins the championship, and Drew McIntyre walks away as your new World Heavyweight Champion, because we all prayed for this. Next up, we have the match for the WWE Women's Championship between champion Io Sky and the Royal Rumble winner Bayley. This is your most traditional wrestling feud that we have. We have a Royal Rumble winner having to go up against the former person that they've mentored, somebody that's currently holding the championship. They used to be friends, now they're not. It's a very simple and a tried and true wrestling feud that will always work until the end of time, and it's working once again because I am very excited for Io Sky versus Bayley. I think that the narrative has been good, and I think that the actual in-ring match is going to potentially be one of those low-key match like show stealers. I am going to be taking Bayley here. I think this is the time where you reward her for all of her hard work, helping carry the women's division during the pandemic, helping put over Damage Control, putting over baby faces left, right, and center. There has to be a moment where the WWE gives Bayley her flowers, and I don't think that there's a better place than giving Bayley her flowers at WrestleMania. Next up, we have LA Knight, yeah, dummy, yeah, taking on AJ Styles. This has been a really fun feud, and to me, I'm still confused why so many LA Knight fans are angry that LA Knight isn't in a world title match or a part of the triple threat match for the United States Championship. This is a match where LA Knight actually gets to be a protagonist, not a side plot for a Roman Reigns story or a side plot for anyone else. He is the main character of LA Knight versus AJ Styles. On top of that, to think that LA Knight versus AJ Styles is somehow a downgrade, an insult to LA Knight, is ridiculous. This is AJ freaking Styles. This is a legend of the industry. This is a first ballot WWE and Wrestling Hall of Famer that LA Knight gets to have a match against at WrestleMania. This is a huge moment for LA Knight. Here's the thing. I think AJ Styles can afford this loss. AJ Styles can lose matches until the end of time and it will not impact his legacy. AJ Styles is already a made man. LA Knight, on the other hand, needs to win this match if we want to actually continue to have him be near the top of the card in 2024. So I am picking LA Knight because he desperately needs this win over AJ Styles. Next up, we have the United States Championship triple threat match between Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. I believe that Logan Paul is going to be one of the pillars of SummerSlam. He's already the poster child of SummerSlam. He was the one that got to announce SummerSlam, and it's in his home state of Ohio. And I think because of that, they're going to have him have a huge match at SummerSlam for the United States Championship, and I think it's going to be against Randy Orton. I wouldn't be surprised if Randy Orton versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship is billed as one of those many main events of SummerSlam. So because of that, I think that Logan Paul is going to walk out with the championship, and Kevin Owens is there to take the pin, in my opinion. I do believe that Logan Paul walks out of this with some sort of chicanery, cheating, another fun way for the heel to walk away with the victory. I could see people like Logan Paul's brother, Jake Paul, get involved. I could see his partner in prime, KSI, get involved. I still think that this could be a crazy mess of a match with so many people getting involved to help Logan Paul, and it can still be fun. I think this could be match of the night as well. I am taking Logan Paul here, though. Next up, we have The Pride, involving Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, taking on the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akam, and Razar. And they have announced that this is a 6-man Philadelphia street fight. So this is going to be a beautiful car wreck. Frankly, I don't think that this match is WrestleMania worthy, but you had to get Bobby Lashley on the card. He couldn't miss back-to-back WrestleManias. That would have just been such an insult to the powerhouse, to the superstar that is Bobby Lashley. He had to make it to WrestleMania somehow. So in my opinion, the only reason this is even on WrestleMania is because of Bobby Lashley. So everyone else, all 5 other guys, they've got Bobby Lashley's star power to thank. And now I'm glad that they made this into a Philadelphia street fight, because if this was just a regular 6-man tag match, this would be on the pre-show in my opinion. But now that it's a street fight, I think that this could be a really fun car wreck where everyone gets really awesome spots, to the point where this can be the night 1's ladder match, because they're having a ladder match, or this could be something like last year's WrestleMania Tag Team Showcase that stole the show, because everyone got a chance to shine. I'm hoping that that's what we end up getting out of this match. I am taking Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits to win this, though. And last but not least, we do have Roman Reigns going in as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion, defending against the back-to-back Royal Rumble winner in Cody Rhodes, in what I think is going to end up being Bloodline Rules. I think everyone is going to be getting involved. I think the over-under on how many people are going to get involved in this match is probably 6, because you could probably have Jimmy get involved, Solo get involved, Jay, The Rock, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre could get involved, Paul Heyman could get involved, maybe new members of the Bloodline that we don't know about yet. Dude, The Rock could come back again, and John Cena and Stone Cold could be in there. This could be the most fun, overbooked mess in wrestling history, and I am here for it. I hope that every one of these people that I've mentioned gets involved, because this can really feel like an Avengers Endgame type of scenario, because in my opinion, this match really needs that moment, because it hasn't really had the traditional great build that a WrestleMania main event ought to have. Really, all of the love, all of the attention has gone to the night 1 main event, and because of that, night 2 is going to be entirely dependent on the hype from residual hype of night 1. But I'm sure that this is still going to be fun. I'm sure that we're still going to be on the edge of our seats. We're still going to love this. We're still going to be talking about this probably months after it happens. We'll see, though. I just hope that it's crazy. I hope that we get some banana shit in this match. Now, in terms of who I think is going to be the winner, I think it is going to be Cody Rhodes. And that might confuse some people, because a lot of people are probably thinking, well, that ends the Bloodline storyline. I don't think so, because I think that this isn't going to end with just Cody Rhodes standing tall. I think Cody Rhodes is going to get his pyro. I think Cody Rhodes is going to stand tall. He's going to get to celebrate the confetti, but I think that the show is going to go even beyond that. It's going to go extended with Roman Reigns battered and left alone in the ring with The Rock, and The Rock is going to take out Roman Reigns right then, right there, and that's what's going to end the show, with heel Rock standing over what he deems to be a disgrace for a tribal chief for losing in the main event of WrestleMania, thus setting us up for, again, Cody Rhodes versus The Rock still could happen, and The Rock versus Roman Reigns perhaps at next year's WrestleMania. So I'm saying that Cody Rhodes walks out and the Bloodline narrative doesn't end because Roman loses his championship. I just think it evolves into something else entirely. All right, folks, those are my predictions. Let me know down in the comments down below how far off you feel that I am. Let me know, but that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.